Many common objects we see every day have secret features that can do all sorts of cool things. Here are 12 everyday things you didn't know the purpose of. Have you ever noticed when you go to unlock a padlock that there is a very tiny hole next to it? If there isn't one, the lock should only be used indoors. The pinholes are to provide drainage for water and to insert lubrication for the moving parts. If you suffer from a sweet tooth, then chances are you've had a McFlurry from McDonald's. If so, you will have noticed that the spoon that comes with your flurry has a square-shaped hole through the handle of the spoon that tapers to the bottom. If you have ever thought the spoon of your McFlurry was a straw, you're not alone. The iconic spoon is actually how workers are able to stir the mixture in the cup using a machine without needing to clean the machine after every use. Not bad, isn't it? Most of us grew up with the frustrating misinformation that the two-toned erasers allowed you to erase pen ink with one side. Although you won't be able to save your paper from ink marks, the opposite sides of these erasers do actually serve a purpose. The red, blue, or gray end of a two-toned eraser allows you to erase pencil and graphite markings from different types of artist's paper. The blue or gray end is meant for erasing pencil marks on heavy grades of paper or dark marks. The soft end, pink or orange, is useful for light grades of paper which the hard gridded side would tear apart. If you spend a lot of your time flying, then chances are you've rolled over the possible uses for the tiny hole in your airplane window a time or two before. The tiny hole is in the middle one and is called the bleed hole. First, it allows airflow through to keep from too much pressure building in the plane and busting the window as it rises in altitude, and second, it also helps keep the window panes from fogging up or frosting over, the result of the temperature difference between the inside and the outside of the cabin, allowing us to stare out into the clouds. The design of the headrest is pretty upfront. They are made to be adjustable to comfortably support anyone's head, no matter how tall or short. While this makes sense, why make them completely detachable? The answer has to do with survival. If you ever find yourself trapped inside your car and need to get out quickly, you can detach your headrest and use the metal bars to smash out your window. We all know what the strangely shaped claws on the rim of a pasta spoon is for: to grip pasta as you spoon it out so it doesn't slide off the utensil. What about the weird hole in the middle bottom of the spoon though? While you might have thought it was to strain any excess juices or sauce, it really has a much more useful purpose. It turns out the hole in the middle of many spaghetti spoons is perfect for measuring out a single serving of pasta. Just use it to measure out how much pasta you should cook based on how many people will be dining. Do you remember your love of Lollipop as a kid, and the excitement that came when you finally finished your candy, and you tried to turn the plastic stick with the hole into a whistle? As it turns out, that's not actually what that hole is meant for. The reason the plastic lollipop stick has a small hole at the top is so that when the manufacturer pours the hot, melted candy into the mold, some of it seeps into the hole and hardens to keep the candy on the stick instead of falling off. Many men would be surprised to learn that not even most women know the specific purpose of the small pockets sewn into their panties. Although women have found them to be plenty useful for storing things like tampons or other small items of a private nature, this actually isn't why it's there. The reason for the pocket is simple. A small piece of fabric called a gusset sits in the crotch of your panties to provide reinforcement, breathability, and moisture wicking. Just like most other people today, you may just think that the poofy pom-pom dangling from the end of your beanie is simply there for added fashion. But when first designed, it served a much more functional purpose. You might be surprised to know that the common beanie we see today was first created by the Vikings to keep their ears warm in the harsh winter climate of Norway. The pom-pom was sewn to the top of the cap to keep the seams from coming apart. Who said the Vikings are harsh? Notebook margins. Those margins weren't invented as a guide for how many sentences you could fit onto one page, or even to leave space for note-taking. Earlier on in history, rats were a common resident in many people's homes, and one of their favorite snacks was your paper, in addition to everything else they could munch on. Applying wide margins to paper safeguarded against losing important work by leaving blank spaces around the edges for the rats to chew through first, and to protect the writing on the outer edges from general wear and tear. Have you ever had one of those embarrassing moments at a gas pump where you realized you parked your car on the opposite side of where your gas tank is? It's happened to the best of us. If you pay closer attention to the gas indicator light in your vehicle, you might notice that there is an arrow next to the pump. That arrow is indicating to you which side your fuel tank sits on. Other lights simply use the pump handle to indicate which side it is on. There are many clothing features that regularly get mistaken as simply fashionable when actually they have a unique purpose. The half belt is one of them. Usually seen on trench and pea coats, they were originally developed for men in the military who had oversized jackets that doubled as blankets. The half belt is simply used to gather the extra material and hold it in place so soldiers could walk freely. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already.